I'm Susan. Welcome to Tea and Games. The tea today, which is fogging my glasses if I get too close, the tea today is Builders. No, it's not. It's Brodie's Scottish breakfast. This is actually my second pot of tea, and yes, I'm still on breakfast tea. Brodie's Scottish breakfast. It's extremely strong. So hopefully I will not fall asleep during the middle of this. Welcome to new subscribers. I'm happy you're here. This is a small, casual board game channel. I'm not a professional content creator. I'm not trying to be a professional content creator. My husband Robert and I are casual weekend board gamers, and I just do this little thing, usually once a week. Last week, actually Saturday is when it was our second channel anniversary, and the 100th episode. And I started something new then. If you missed it, I started a top 50 games countdown. This is not like top 50 all-time games because I haven't played all the games, and I haven't even played all the games that could be considered classic games. There's still a few on my classic games I haven't played list, but that should be another video. But yeah, I started a top 50 countdown, and it was 50 through 41 on that one. I'm not doing them every week because that would take 5 weeks, and then I would be over a month behind talking about other games. Because we have gotten some new games, we've gotten more games on the way. I just got a notification that that the new version of Canopy Evergreen, which will play more than 2. Canopy is one of our favorite 2 players, is on the way, so I should be talking about that fairly soon. And I've got a few more games down there at the end of the dining room table here that we haven't played yet. But we did get a couple of games to the table this weekend, and we'll talk about this in a minute, but I think I should mention, we're still kind of banging our heads against the wall with Zapotec. Mind you, we like this. We like it a lot. But we played it again this weekend because we thought we had gotten the hang of it. Oh boy, that game was actually, we did worse than we had done in the previous games. And we're just looking at each other after the game and going like, wow, what happened there? So, and it's the rounds that are killing us. This is, I would say, a light Euro. It's basically got Euro game mechanisms, but it's lighter and shorter. It's got only 5 rounds, and you really can't do much of anything in the first round. There's just a little bit that you can do in the first round. So that means effectively you've got 4 rounds before the game ends to do all the things and create the engine that's building up your resources and getting points and things. And it seems like it's really not enough. I feel like that if this game had 1 or 2 more rounds, even just 1 more round, that I would just be able to like make everything really come together and just do brilliantly with it. But it's just, we are just not really Euro gamers, and the efficiency required of this is just, I think, beyond us. But at the same time, we're kind of fascinated by the puzzle of it. Most of the time we play family weight games, a little bit heavier sometimes. We do have a few heavier games in our collection. And this one we really liked. Robert looked at me afterwards and he says, the only way we're really going to get this down and become really good at it is if we play it every weekend. And he added, and I would not be, I would have no problem doing that. So I think that we're probably going to slot this in because it plays kind of fast. I mean, there is a little analysis paralysis in there, and that's what makes this game not be super quick. But I think we're probably going to try to slot this in a lot of weekends because it's just an interesting little puzzle. We're still trying to figure out how to make the best of the few rounds that we've got. And we haven't quite gotten there. Sometimes we do really, really well. And then just the way the cards fall, we're looking at this and we're going like, well, what I did last time is not going to be the most efficient route this time. So Yeah, we're still working on this and we are still enjoying it. And that's the thing. You can just, if you're beating your head against a game in particular, but you're enjoying the process, then it's a good game. It's still a success because the whole point of playing games is to have fun. And we're having a lot of fun with this. We're just going like, yeah, I just really screwed up that round, or I can't get that square that I need, and now it's just not going to work like I hoped. And so we are enjoying it. But the big hit was the new game we played, and this is new in every sense of the word, new to us and new. This was part of a Game Found delivery. I started to say Kickstarter, but it's Game Found delivery from Red Raven Games. And we played Islebound, which was a reprint that we got there and liked that a lot. And this is the new game from Red Ravens, the very new game. We like this. We played it twice this weekend. And it was just kind of wonderful. I do think, though, that there's going to be some of you watching that are going to give this a hard pass, though, because based upon comments that a lot of board gamers make about certain types of games, there's one thing about this game that I know a lot of people are going to go, no. And that is, this game is very much multiplayer solitaire. I mean, player interaction is little to none. There are a couple of boards off to the side, the Ember Zombie board and the Market board, where there is a little player interaction in the sense that, well, if you put a coin or a cube on there, then you can take the action, and the other players, that cube then moves, and after a certain point that slot becomes unavailable, and there are more expensive actions that other players would have to take if they don't jump on that action before the cube slides all the way down. So, but that's really not a large part of the game. In fact, I would say that you could play this game without the Ember Zombie board or the Market board. The Market board is handy if you need to get food and can trade coins for it, or bags, little purple bags. But you could play this game without that. As a matter of fact, the very first game we played, we didn't touch the Market board. Well, I think we both did the Market board once, like right in the first round, because we just hadn't started gathering stuff yet. And so we got food that way in the first or second round, I think. So, but after that, we pretty much just ignored it because this is fundamentally a card game. And as far as the Ember Zombies go, the number of Ember Zombies you take, that's -1 point. Now, if you fight them on the Ember Zombie board, then you have the ability to remove those negative points and also get victory points off of it. So that's a consideration. Both the Market board and the Ember Zombie board will give you victory points. But that's not, I would say, the primary way to get points. It would be interesting maybe to play a game in which you tried to make using those boards the primary way of getting points, just to see how it worked, to see if that would actually work well. But I see it more as a secondary thing. And you can avoid Ember Zombies. The board on this, it has little marks on there, and you can maneuver around them. And like I said, if you hit an Ember Zombie, it's only -1 point. So that's not a huge consideration. It's just whether or not you want to get victory points off of the Market board and the Ember Zombie board. Let me pull some things out here so I can talk to you about this. This is primarily a card game, and if you like card combos, oh yeah, also because this is the Kickstarter, we got... This is an Arzium game. This is set in Ryan Lockett's Arzium as area, country, territory, whatever, which a number of his games are. And one of the things in the Kickstarter, like an extra, is you get a map of Arzium, which is just lovely and was boxed up in it. Also, there is one other Kickstarter extra that I've got that you can get, but not right now. There is, rolled into this pack, there is the Wanderers expansion. And the Wanderers expansion adds a 5th and 6th player, which might not be a consideration for a lot of people. I mean, when I got it because it was part of the Kickstarter thing. But the thing is, it also adds 45 new cards, including a new type of card, artifact cards. So, yeah. Oh, here's the Ember Zombie board. And you use dice to get that, and some of your cards will give you extra attack points, and then you put your first cube up here and you slide it down like for each round until it gets down to here, at which point nobody can use that area again. They can't get it that cheap, but you get victory points. These little tags down here are victory points. And this is the market board. And it works the same way. Up here, you would trade coins for food, and down here, you would trade little purple bags for food. These are the boards that the Caravan moves on. They are double-sided. And this will always be the start board. Oh, here it is. The word start is on each side. So this will always be the start board. And then you will lay out 3 more double-sided boards end on end after that start board. And so you will need a bit of table space because it goes down there. There are, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 6 squares per board. So that means there's like 24 squares. And then there's like a little end piece that's added onto the end. This is East Tray. This is your destination tile. So you're trying to get to East Tray. The first game, we did not, but we were not very efficient in the first game because that's just the way first games go. But, and the Kickstarter version has wooden food pieces. This is like bread and metal coins and fruit. Fruit is very valuable in this game. See, fruit. Fruit is very valuable in this game because cards have action slots on them, and that it's a dice placement game. And yes, the Wanderers expansion gives you more dice for your other players. It's a dice placement game, and so you have to have the right number of dice to the right score on the dice to place it on a card. But if you put fruit on the card, then that changes that dice required to 1, which means that you can have any dice on there, 1 or above. The dice number on the card placement has to do, and also on the player boards. What did I do with the player boards? Oh yes, they're underneath here. The player boards have your basic dice placement slots. I think the backside of the board is the solo mode. And since this is multiplayer solitaire, this would be a good game, I think, for people who like to play solo but will occasionally play with other people, because the solo game is going to be very similar. But yeah, you have dice placement slots up here. This tells you where you can move. This is any terrain, which you will need 2 dice to do. And this is plains terrain, which you will only need 1 dice. And here you can get a bag. Some cards require bags, and here you can get food. Cards usually require food. And here you can get trade-in cards for coins. Sometimes a card will need coins. Sometimes you can trade coins for food. There's a trade at market slot there, and then there's the attack the Ember Zombie slot here. These are placing dice here will allow you to draw more cards. 1 card here, 1 card there. See, it's got a 1 pip, so that means basically any dice. And then for a 5, you can draw 3 and keep 1. So that's basically the player board, and everybody has 5 dice to play. See, 5 up here. But there are cards that can get you an extra dice. They are pricey, though. I mean, they are really pricey. But, I mean, a lot of the cards are pricey, but they give you good stuff. So I said this is primarily a card game. I need to move this stuff around and not spill. Yeah, I got a big bag of cards. I have started sleeving them, and I ran out because I did not I didn't order enough to include the Wanderers expansion. Now I had So I just ordered more. So it's like, so I had like so many cards because I had some that just, I ordered too few, but I've ordered more card sleeves. I am sleeving these cards for a reason. I have never sleeved any cards before in my life, and that is because I just look at these cards and they're just, I don't know, there's something kind of beautiful and magical looking about them. I mean, Robert and I just look at these cards and what they do and the creatures on them and the places on them, and we just look at them and we just kind of go, ooh. But it's got Ryan Lockett's signature artwork on it. This is an example of one of the artifact cards that is in the Wanderer's expansion. And why I said you can't get this expansion right now is because the Wanderer's expansion won't be available for retail until 1 full year after the Kickstarter delivery. So it's got 45 more cards. So you could get Creature Caravan now. Look, they got Lolo the Packbird. Remember her from Rome? And here is a Glow, who is a Delver. But yeah, there's just, ooh, a Cyclops. He is Giant Deadly Delver. And you see, I'm reading off these things, Folk, Delver, Tiny, because some of these cards have things. This is Folk Magic. It is the Plagued Mystic. You get, see, these are the points that you get right here, -2 unless you have +3 magic, and then you don't get anything, you just don't lose any points. But a lot of these cards, this is Tiny, Shy, Flying. It's the Arzium Dove. And the point value here, you get 5 points if you have 4 tiny cards, and that will include this card too. So if you have 4 or more tiny cards, then you will get 5 points off of this. So that's how the card combos work. This one, you get 2 points per machine. This one, you just get a straight point. And there are a number of cards in which you're just getting straight up points. There's no contingency. Like this one, you can get 4, but you will get an extra 4 if you also have the Grasskin Queen, which I've had before, but not when I had that card. So the card combos are very much a thing for maximizing your points. The cost of the card is up here. This cost 8 food and 1 bag, but you get 9 points for it, but you will get 4 more if you have Nocturnal. And there are, like I said, the artifacts. Will require magic, like this one requires magic and Nocturnal. So I could, if I've already played this card, play this artifact card and attach it to this card. Now you can't move it after it's attached. So you want to choose which card you're going to put your artifact on, because you might want to put something else, another artifact on, you know, a different card. But all of these cards have special powers on them, special abilities. Some of them, like this one, 3 or higher dice, you get 2 food. Some of them will give you a reroll. Let me see here. This one will give you food and coin. This one, the dice placement spot, will give you, you can draw 2 cards and take 1 and get a food. This one is an artifact that says when a die is placed on this creature, gain a food. There are a couple of them in here, maybe more, that will allow you to remove Ember Zombie tokens. There are some that will allow you to gain coins if you camp on certain types of areas, meaning you end your turn and put out your little tent on like mountains or canyons or white towers. And those are really nice. There are some that will give you extra movement. Let me see if I can find one of the extra movement cards. There's some, those are all contingent on other things, but there are just a ton of cards in these games, and they have nice combos on them. You can get coins, you can get more food. Food is what you need to pay for the cards. Bags also, sometimes coins, but also it just has so many different combos. Like if you kind of start off and you've got a number of like tiny folk Delver kind of cards, then you might want to collect more of those because there will end up being synergy between those cards. And sometimes you may want to play a card that doesn't get you any victory points, but it has a really good ability that will help you out in the game and therefore give you more victory points. But if you like card combos, and you can only play, I should say, you got a max of 12 creatures. So that means when you choose what cards to play, you've got to be thinking about getting cards that have good synergy, getting cards that have good abilities. And you've got to try to, you can't put down just an infinite number of cards, even if you have got your engine to where you're just building up food and bags and you can pay for a lot of stuff. You want to get stuff that's going to work really, really well together because you've got 12 cards. And you're going to hit that 12 faster than you think you are. And the artifact cards do not count toward that 12. So it's only 12 creature cards, not 12 artifact and creature cards. So that's the artifact cards. That's another reason why, even if your player count doesn't usually require you to need that extra 5th or 6th player, that's why you might want to consider eventually getting the Wanderer's expansion, because the artifact cards have some really good abilities on them. They can give you points, and they won't count toward that 12 max. But we just enjoyed the heck out of it. It was very absorbing. And when you've got a lot of cards out there, it's like when your turn comes around and you place a die and then resolve it and do its action, and then you place another one and resolve it and do its action. There are certain things that have first turn. At start of turn, you can do these actions, or you can have a reroll or something like that. So you're looking at these things and you're going like, okay, first of turn, I draw a card, and then I discard this, and then this. Okay, I've landed on that, so I'm putting this, and then I'm doing that, and let's see, this is, okay, but I played that card down, so now I need to draw a card. It's like you've got to kind of track all of these different special abilities that you have, and also places where you can put your dice. So it is just, it's very absorbing. It is multiplayer solitaire, but it's a very absorbing and immersive kind of experience. And I credit that partly on the gameplay and also partly on the artwork, which is just so wonderful. I want to sleeve the cards because I just kind of want to keep the art and the cards looking pristine, which I'm just not really into that. Usually I sleeve cards for other reasons, like the cards are very flimsy and I want to protect them because they're starting to get dinged up, or it's a game that we've played so much that I'm thinking, yeah, we're playing this so much, the cards will not last my lifetime with this kind of handling, so they need to be sleeved. So, but I've never just sleeved things because they're pretty. But we played 2 games of this. Oh, I mentioned that 12-card limit. In the first game I played, I got a card that said tiny cards. Not tiny creatures, but tiny cards. So that means tiny tagged onto an artifact also would count. Tiny cards don't count against the limit of 12. And there isn't a hand limit. But I found myself weirdly short of cards in one of the games. It's like it's easier sometimes to play cards down once you get good at getting the resources to play the cards down and move up on the board. And by the way, you don't want to get to Easter. It's easier to do that than to draw cards. It's like it takes a dice or a special card that gives you ability to draw something to get more cards. And by the way, getting to East Tray at the end, you don't want to do that too quick. I actually got to East Tray before I had used up my 12 tenths. I had 1/10 left. You get 5 points for making it to East Tray, the very final spot on the board. But you also get points for each tent you put out. So I got 5 points for East Tray, but I only got 11 points off of my tent instead of the max 12. And Robert actually he actually ended one short of East Tray because the spot that he ended on gave him more points than if he would have gone all the way in. So you kind of need to figure some things out here and there, just the way the game plays. Whoops. But anyhow, it has been fun talking to you about these games, and it has been fun playing them. I'm looking at this to see if there's anything I've mentioned: solo mode, card combos, dice placement. Yeah. But I'm hoping that y'all will stick with me for more newish games or downright new games as Kickstarters deliver toward the end of the year here. And that you will stick around for the top 50 countdown. We've done 50 through 41. You might want to go back to last week's video and check that out. And I think probably next week I will go ahead and do the 40 through 31. So I used Pub Meeple for the rankings. So that was kind of an interesting experience because, like I said, I've never done that kind of thing before. So this is going to be a new fun thing for all of us, me and you. And I will see y'all next time round the table. Bye.